How you guys doing? Well, the name of this one is Buy Your Kids a Nice Watch Instead of Donating Your Money to the Global Elites. Well, who are the global elites? Well, everybody is affected by the global elites. So if you're not sure who the global elites are, well, you've been affected by them. You've been molded by them, and you've been brainwashed by them. The global elites are the 1%, and there's like a 1%. Inside that 1% are the richest people in the world. They got wealth beyond your imagination. So it's not the 1% richest, it's the 1% richest within the 1%. They don't have they don't have crystal chandeliers. They have diamond chandeliers. And they've got all the people brainwashed almost. And there's some of you who are not brainwashed. There's some of you that transcended from the brainwashing. You broke away from the conditioning. And you got to think for yourselves. But there's a lot of people that's been zombified by the global elites. And they've been zombified since birth. They've been zombified by television. They've been zombified from schools and teachers, and they've been zombified from politics. They've been zombified in every way possible. And basically, it's like a big cult to worship the global elites. That 1% within the 1%, the richest people in the world. So these richest people, they have the money, they have the outlook, they have the power. They have governments behind them. They have everything behind them. Religion, governments, everything. They have the experts working for them. They have the psychology down pat. They have the psychiatry down pat. They got everything down pat. They got the medical down pat to get what they want. And what the global elites really want to do is they don't want to die themselves. Instead of dying, what they want to do is transcend their consciousness right into the machines, right into the supercomputers, let's say. And they're going to want to live forever through these supercomputers and through the machines. That's their biggest outlook. But their big idea is not to die. But they're all their suckers, all their brainwashed sheep, they have them marked for dead. And I'm not kidding you, they have them marked for dead. So, all these morons and fools and sheep and brainwashed, they've all been brainwashed not to give their kids anything. And instead of giving their kids anything, they're all brainwashed to donate their money to the global elites. Well, how did the global elites get so rich in the first place? Well, it took a long time. But as long as they have a bunch of fools donating their money to them, they'll stay rich and they'll be able to maintain that lifestyle, no problem. The global elites have problem, reaction, solution right down pat. Right down pat. They present and manufacture problems. They get the fools to react to it, and then they sell them the solution. And they tell these fools, they say, well, don't give any money to your kids. Don't buy your kids anything. Your kids would be a lot better if you don't buy them anything. No, don't buy your kids anything. Don't invest in them. You're going to ruin your kids by buying them anything. Instead of that, donate your money to us. Well, some people believe that. They think that's the greatest thing in the world. Oh yeah, I'm making my kids a lot better by not spending a dime on them. But, you're giving your money to the global elites. Well, duh, they're spending that money on their kids, aren't they? Like, just real dumb. These global elites, they have all these sheep and fools and brainwashed morons believing that they're the upper class. When they're really middle class, but they believe that they're rich and upper class, and they believe that they're better than the poor. There's a poorer, lower class of people too. So like there's low class people, and there are a couple of genres of them, and then there's the middle class and the high class, and then it goes on and on and on. But there's all these subclasses too, so it gets complex. But just to make it simple, middle class people are fooled to believe that they're the upper class. And they're so stupid to believe this. They're not the upper class. They're really the poor class. But anyway, they're made to believe that, oh yeah, don't give your kids anything. Like, don't do that. But, well, instead of giving your money to the global elites, buy your kids a nice watch instead. That's a good beginning right there. I'm sure the global elites will buy their kids a nice watch, and lots of them. Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron Constantin, all the best. I'm sure they got lots of them. And they got you all fooled, you know. They might go out and say, well, I'm a philanthropist. I'm just wearing a Casio. Look at me. I'm a philanthropist. I'm wearing a Casio. Yeah, the people believe, oh yeah, look at this guy. He's great. He's wearing a Casio. He's a philanthropist. Well, the guy's a multi-trillionaire. Don't you think he's got a Patek Philippe at home? Sure he does. When he's with his friends and with his own crowd, he's wearing his Patek Philippe's, he's wearing his Audemars Piguet, he's wearing the best of everything. But all these fools, they think, oh, he's a philanthropist, I'm going to donate my money to him. Oh, my kids will be better off if I don't give them any money, but I'm going to donate my money to a trillionaire. Like, how stupid is this? It's so stupid reasoning. And it's just amazing how many people fall for this. You know, I see people that are basically homeless. And they'll sit down at a grocery store and basically panhandle for money, just hope somebody donates some money to them. And their parents will drive by in their brand new vehicles. They won't give them any money because they saw on a television show, well, this psychologist from Hollywood, he said, oh, you don't give your kids any money. Your kids will be a lot better. Yeah, they're going to really improve themselves by not giving them any money. Don't give them anything. Just give your money to the global elites. Your kids will be a lot better. Well, your kid sits there and panhandles for some money. Well, I don't think it's working. But listen to some psychologist in Hollywood. I'm sure that they're looking after their kids quite well, aren't they? So, buy your kids a nice watch instead of donating your money to the global elites. The global elites have it all set up. They have it all set up. They have all kinds of donation schemes and scams and trickery to get all these wannabes to donate to them. You just look around. Go on the internet, look around. Like, how far can you get through a day without being presented with some kind of a donation thing? Like tomorrow morning, take notice of everything you're bombarded with about donating to something or someone or something or something. Someone, something. And just take notice of it. And you will see that you're bombarded with this. And just take notice of how many things you're bombarded with to tell you, to brainwash you, not to give your kids anything. Why do you think so many kids, you hear so many kids are so messed up? As time goes on, more kids are messed up. More kids are messed up. More kids are messed up. More adult kids are messed up. Well, I think a lot of it is because their parents donated their money to the global elites instead of buying their kids anything. You buy your kid a nice watch. Well, he's going to feel better about himself. He'll be able to tell what time it is and make it on time somewhere instead of always being late. I mean, your kid goes around and he's always late and he doesn't know if he's coming or going. Well, a watch would help him. Doesn't even have to be an expensive watch. Let's say you buy your kid a Rolex. Let's say instead of donating for a whole year to some global elites, let's say $10,000, some parent donated to the global elites in a whole year $10,000. Let's say they bought their kid a $10,000 Rolex. Well, they're better off because that kid can take that $10,000 Rolex in a number of years. He can sell that and make some money on it. So it's like a little bit of investment. I'm sure the global elites will make sure they buy themselves a Rolex and cash it out, cash in, and make some money on that. The global elites are all about increasing their money. And they basically want to take over the whole world. They want a one world government. They want to be the government. They want to be the whole global government. Forget about these little independent governments everywhere and people thinking for themselves and governing them themselves. They want to be the boss of everything, the whole world. Present a problem to you like climate change. Oh yeah, you guys are all going to die of climate change. You better donate your money to us. We'll save you. Yeah, what are they going to do to save you? Well, what they could do is take all that money in investment, invest that money, lend it back to the fools and charge them interest on it. That's the way, isn't it? You betcha. So take all the donation money, lend it back to the fools, charge them a big interest on it, and become even richer. Well, that's a good scheme. Why isn't it? So you see these fools donating all their money to the global elites, and they think they're big shots doing it. You betcha. They say their little clubs, little groups, oh, look at me, I donated all this money right to the... Well, they're so stupid they think it's some kind of a philanthropist scheme or something. They fall right hook, line, and sinker for it. So they donate the money to them, and they say to their friends, well, look at me, I donated $10,000 this year to this in a name of some kind of a scheme or charity club, whatever you want to call it. There's all kinds of names they give this stuff. The more names, the better, because the more chances of them donating, right? So I donated $10,000. Wow. Well, you're going to get your name in a book or on a plaque for that. And so your name in a book or a plaque is worth $10,000? Well, that person's pretty stupid, isn't it? Aren't they? And you look around, you'll see plaques up with people's names on them. Or some book in some global elites like library or something like that with your name in a book. Wow. Big deal, right? Royalty. And royalty's part of the global elites too. And people donate to them, don't they? Yep, the global elites make it really easy to donate to them. You don't have to go too far to find a way to donate your money to the global elites. You don't have to go very far to find out not to give your money to your kids. So they want your money. They don't want your kids to have your money. They don't want your kids to be successful. They don't want you to be successful. All they're worried about themselves is being successful themselves and have their own kids successful. That's why they come up with these agendas. Like Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. They're coming up with all these agendas, big long plans that last for years and decades. And these big plans to get more power, get more money, to get more brainwashing of the people. They don't even want people to have their own house. They don't want people to have their own transportation. They don't want people to have air conditioning. And they sure as heck don't want your kids to have that either. But they want you to donate your money to them so they can have all that stuff. They'll say to you, well, you can't drive a car. You're going to ruin the environment. You can't drive. You got to take a bus. Don't you drive that car. You're ruining the environment. You're going to make the planet boil over by driving your car. What do they go around in? They go around in their own private jets. But, that's okay because they're the global elites and they got a lot of duties to perform. Oh, yeah. They can go around their own private jets. See how brainwashed they have people? Oh yes, climate change. Like, you can't do this. You can't put on a light bulb at night and read a book. That's climate change. But they live in great big giant mansions. And I'm sure they got big street lights all around their mansions and great big security systems that eat up all kinds of electricity. And they got their own staff to look after them and everything. They want these people to live in a little coffin apartment. They want people just to live in a little capsule eventually. So they'll be just living in a little capsule. You'll go along, you pay $10,000 a month to live in a little capsule or a little cage where all the other people are, just like living in prison, right? You got your own little capsule, your own little cage, so you pay big money to live in that. You have no room to even move. You don't even have enough room to turn around at night while you're sleeping. And while the global elites, they got their underground bunkers, they got their great big palaces, they have their great big mansions, they have great big garages full of cars, they got all kinds of luxury watches beyond your imagination, they have diamond chandeliers, they have everything. While the dummies are donating their money to them. Now, isn't that a stupid equation if there ever was any? For the dummies donating to them at least, but the global elites are smart. They're just sitting back laughing and saying, I hope these suckers die quicker. Well, so there's no reason you can't buy your kids a nice watch instead of donating your money to the global elites. And any of these people that give their money to the global elites and do not give their money to their kids instead, they're not very fit parents. They're brainwashed. They're just stupid. Somehow they think if they give their money to the global elites, that makes them more elite. Well, in the eyes of the global elites, it just makes them look stupid. That they don't appreciate that, the global elites. They just think, oh, look at these dumb suckers. I just hope that they die sicker. Die sicker from GMO foods, die sicker from pharmaceuticals, die sicker from chemicals and everything else. So they don't want people to be successful. They don't want people to be healthy. They just serve up the problems, reactions, and solutions. And they don't want your kids to be healthy. All the kids are having more and more autism. They don't want the kids to survive. They want population reduction. They want eugenics. They want to control the whole world. They don't want people to think for themselves. They don't want people to have any wealth. They don't want people to have any power. They just want people to fight amongst themselves over petty stuff. They don't want people to form any kind of groups that have any power. They don't want people to think for themselves. Look how they got these anti-male feminists brainwashed. They've been brainwashing them for decades and decades. They've been brainwashing these anti-male feminists to hate men. And those anti-male feminists, they've swallowed a hook, line, and sinker. They're the biggest suckers you ever seen. Suckers. Anti-male feminists. Plain old suckers, and they fell for it. And all they do is fight with men and hate men. Well, they're not having any kids doing that, are they? And the global elites are just sitting back and saying, those suckers, they're just failing, and they're just doing exactly what we want them to do. If those anti-male feminists were smart, they would forget about men and just try to improve themselves. But they just they fell for all the bait that the global elites have been giving them for decades and decades. And if you notice, the global elites are not getting poorer, they're getting richer. They're getting richer all the time. Now, I'll give you an example. You look back at some videos of some royal type of celebrations. Let's say some old black and white films. You look at that. Well, they're not as elaborate as they are today. You look at some of the celebrations of some of these global elites. They're a lot more elaborate today even when they were back then. So it just kind of shows you like how much they've gained in wealth. But the global elites have always been around, but they're richer now than ever, of course. The global elites have used all the different technologies to make them richer. They've used the brainwashing, and it's all advanced brainwashing to make them richer. And they just didn't come up with all this stuff yesterday. It's been going on for decades and decades and decades. So you just think about how stupid that is, that somebody would not buy their kid a nice watch, or even a nice Rolex, a nice Audemars Piguet, a Patek Philippe, even a Timex. And they'd rather donate their money to the global elites who would not even give them the right time of day. Just think about that. Isn't that the most pathetic thing you ever heard of? But it happens. And it's happening all the time. It's happening around you. It's happening in front of you, behind you, everywhere. Look at all the kids that are messed up, screwed up, getting poor educations, dead end everything. And these people just keep on donating their money to the global elites. Well, I think if you want to break that kind of brainwashing, I think the first thing you want to do is buy your kids a nice watch instead of donating your money to the global elites. That's your first step right there.